Okay, we can start. I think we have good audience. Around 30 people have joined. Uh, Thank you everybody for joining. And our apologies regarding the time confusion. Somehow we had a glitch in the technical glitch in the WebEx, so there was slight confusion with the WebEx invitations. We'll be sticking to the same timing on every Saturday. 10:30. 10:30 is our time. We'll be starting our sessions on time. And yeah, once again, welcome team for our new series, PMI Agile series. So, like our chapter, as you know, in the last session, communicated by Venkat. So, this is the new initiative, PMIPCC Agile series. So, as a part of this series, we have next session, and before going into the session, so we do have upload recording the sessions, and it is been uploading in our YouTube channel. You can look at our PMA Pearl City Hyderabad chapter PMA PCC YouTube channel, and in that we along with other our previous events, we have created PMA PCC Agile series playlist. So all the sessions, this is how it looks. So it is already first session is uploaded there, and as we move on we'll be uploading all our sessions here. Okay, and yeah, so as you all know, today's topic is agile transformations, do's and don'ts. It's by our own president, Mr. Venkat Reddy Chirla. So, as we all know, like he is a seasoned agile coach, enterprise agile coach, program and project management professional. He had over 2 decades of experience in this world, and it is our privilege to hear from him on his thoughts on agile do's and don'ts. We kind of involved quite a good amount of transformations. He can definitely help us his valuable thoughts. Once again, welcome to everybody, and over to you, Venkat. Thank you for coming up and sharing the initiative, and because it is a brainchild of your thoughts, this series. Uh, session is yours.
Thank you very much, Vinay. Hope all of you are able to hear me loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you all. So, no, first of all, let me welcome all of you. So, this is the second we are doing in this series. No, as Vinay mentioned, I hope this series will be helpful to each one of you to understand from the basics. We started with Agile basics last week. Spoke about what is Agile, and she actually ran through Agile Manifesto as well. So today we are going to a bit deep dive for as Vinay mentioned, for some of you who don't know me, I'm Venkat, and I'm going to run through specific, not any specific frameworks today, but we go deep dive into theory and understand exactly what it takes to being agile, what it takes to transformation. We talk about non-agile to agile transformation, what series of steps involved and what process involved, and what needs to be done. Okay, so with that, let me share my screen. Okay, so hope all of you able to see the slide.
Yes, sir. We can see. Yeah.
Okay. So last week we spoke about last week we spoke about when I discussed about all these topics. We talked about what is Agile, just to a quick recap. Okay, and we already talked about Agile development and what are the Agile advantages. And he also discussed about Agile values and manifesto. It is very important to understand these principles before even getting into Agile transformation. Okay, so today we are going to discuss more about core transformation part. As I said, We will deep dive into transformation and on building on the values and principles that we learned uh, last time. So before even getting into do's and don'ts, I want to explain a bit about what exactly agile transformation means. Okay, so know how exactly we can transform from non-agile to agile. Okay, so that's predominantly what the topic of discussion today. Then we also look at what's generally the do's and don'ts that we need to follow while doing agile transformation. So before uh, getting into core concept of transformation process and change models and all that. So let me ask this simple question now about why agile. You know, why do you think agile transformation is necessary and inevitable nowadays in most of the organizations? Predominantly, not only in IT, but most of the organizations, as we discussed last time, are moving on to agile. So, the question about why agile, I think the reason I'm asking this question again, this is the first step in any transformation process. We need to be very clear on why we are going for agile. Okay. So unless we clear and know it is not for the sake of a competition, or it's not for the sake of somebody else is doing, or it is not for the sake of no industry is following. So so am I, or so my organization. So that is not definitely the way to look at it. So you need to have what we call it as a tipping point. In SAFe. No, again, I'm a SAFe SPC and DSSM, DS Discipline Agile Scrum Master as well. So we'll hear reference to many frameworks in the session today. So in SAFe, what we call it as a shift, safe tipping point. So that's where we decided to go for SAFe. So the tipping point is actually about why we are going for agile. So any specific answers for that from any of you? You can just type your answer in the chat window.
Yes, sir. We do
For,
have some responses.
for why is that? Let me look at that.
Shall I read it out for you? Or
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Transformation is because of changing dynamic requirement and customer. Okay. Thank you, Luxana. Anticipation of achieving dynamic results, adopt change and requirement, need driven. Very good answers. Keep coming more. So why agile? No, it's again, as I said, there should be some strong reason for organizations to go agile. What is that? What is that? You can, from your side, you can tell that why your organization or why or certain organizations in your industry are going for agile. Fast-paced, user-friendly, transparency. Okay, people management. Very good. Resource optimization. Okay. Okay. So pretty good answers. Pretty good answers. I would say. Okay. Thanks for all of you for your active participation in the session. So if I summarize exactly the predominant reason, most of these answers also we can group under that. Predominant reason we are going for agile is two ways. So one is business agility, that what we call it as ability to respond to market changes. So it is a very important concept in all the frameworks that you study, whether it is Scrum, SAFe, Scrum of Scrums, any frameworks you study, business agility or organization agility in some of the core areas we call it as. So business agility and the customer centric approach. Obviously, business agility enables the customer centric approach also. Okay. So the two core concepts are the primary reasons for organizations going for agile is we can term it as business agility. So what exactly business agility? The ability of the organizations to respond to market changes. See, we all understand why organizations should be competitive. And I think last week when I spoke about what are the, how agile benefits organizations to be more competitive and responding to changes. Otherwise, in the current scenario, especially in the scenario post-COVID, so organizations cannot survive without being agile. That's for given. many of the industries, it's not no more an optional practice that we need to look at it maybe at a later point of time, because organizations cannot survive in this competitive world if they are not responding to changing market changes, are competitively responding to the changes in the market, right? So one key reason that we can term, if somebody asks you one key reason for going for agile, is business agility. And also there were significant surveys were done. So this is one of the survey from the state of agile report, right? So I think if you look at top reasons for going for agile, so you can find this report in the web also. Let me show this to you. So all of you can see this report, right? Yes. All of you can see the PDF
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sharing.
yes, yes, we
Okay.
can.
So if you see this 15th State of Agile report that was released end of last year. So the predominant region for adoption, what are the most important regions for this is what I was showing in the slide also, right? So enhancing ability to manage changing priorities. This is nothing but the business agility I'm talking about. This is the predominant reason. Accelerate software delivery. I think some of you mentioned these reasons as well. Increase team productivity. So there are various regions, but the predominant regions, if you can combine most of it, is into business agility, increase team productivity, improve business and IT alignment. Okay, we talk about DevOps and other practices in Agile, enhance software quality. So these are the predominant regions. And no, and interestingly, if you look at this slide, so there are not only the software development, of course, which is predominantly 86% is already moving to Agile, but there are a lot of other no industries or other departments moving to Agile. If you look at operations, marketing, security, no hardware development, finance are embarking on Agile because they see the benefit and value out of it. Okay, so okay, so no having understood the primary reasons for Agile, no why Agile. So let me ask another question. So this we discussed last time. This not a new question I am asking. What is exactly Agile? Again, a simple question. What is Agile? How you define Agile? Any answers in the chat? Is it a framework? Is it a methodology? Is it way of working? Please start typing your answers in the chat window. Flexibility, methodology, framework, best practices, framework, mindset. Okay, keep coming. More answers. Methodology. So I think I see most of the answers, methodology and framework and mindset. So how many of you agree that Agile is a methodology or a framework? All of you agree that it is a methodology and framework? Okay, so I think Vamshi Krishna is right. So it is not actually a methodology or framework. Okay, so if you look at, no, if you, some of you are not sure how many of you in the last week session. So we talk about Agile as a mindset. Okay, Agile as a mindset, Agile as an approach we talk about. We never talk about Agile as a framework or a methodology. So we can talk about SAFe, we can talk about Scrum, we can talk about Kanban as a framework or methodology or disciplined Agile as a toolkit. But Agile is a mindset. Okay. Why it is a mindset? Any answers? Agile is a mindset change that we talk about. So any answers why it is a mindset? And next question for me. Answers? why Agile, we treat it as a mindset change. When I talk about uh, the shift gears to deliver the minimum viable product. Okay. So any more answers? Customer delight is the objective. Okay. Collaboration to adapt to change. Okay. So I think, thank you. Thank you for the answers. I think pretty much most of it are in line. Okay. So if you look at Agile, if you look at high level, about Agile, what it involves significant difference between the way we do things. Through, if we say, if you're currently working on a stage gate approach or a phase gate approach or waterfall kind of model, and you want to convert to Agile. Okay, so let's say you want to follow a specific framework, or let's talk about at a broader level, you want to convert from a waterfall to Agile. Okay, it involves significant change of ways of working. It involves significant change in your mindset. It involves significant change in your process. It involves significant change in the way you use your technology and tools, right? All of you agree? So if you look at these slides, you will understand. So if you look at this one, so it involves, this is just a simple Scrum diagram. I think most of you would have been quite familiar. So it completely changes the way we do things. And in a phase gate approach, as last week we discussed, so we talk about big delivery of value towards the end, but here we are delivering it in multiple increments of PDCA cycles. Where we divide into stories or features, then we actually feed into the iteration. We go in cyclic loops of PDCA and we do an iteration review. Typically every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then a retrospective and deliver value in chunks. Okay, we are going to talk in depth about the Scrum process in a different session. But the reason I'm keeping this slide here is to explain that it is not unlike currently what you're doing in a typical phase gate approach or waterfall. It significantly changes the way you do things. And the iron triangle, as project managers, we were taught and now we are very fixed that how we manage our scope, time, and cost, right? So this the fixed triangle, iron triangle, what we call it as in our project management definitions and all that. So, but the Agile completely flips that. So while still all the parameters are important, but in most of the cases in Agile projects, I see the cost and time are fixed while we play with the features to be implemented. And what kind of best, we talk about prioritization, we talk about delivering value early, but maintaining within the time schedule and tasks. Okay, so but in case of a linear approach, we talk about detailing the scope as much as possible at the beginning of the product life cycle, or at the beginning of the project, and then playing with cost and time. So we add more resources if you're getting delayed, if you ask for more time, if we are not able to complete, while we try to complete agreed upon scope, because that is what the agreement with the client, we try to see what is the initial agreed upon scope of the client. But in case of Agile, we do our thinking should be in a different perspective. So we try to optimize the value while we try to deliver the scope, initial scope that is agreed. We try to, if you look at in alignment with Agile principles, so we talk about adding more welcoming change even late in the game. Okay. So if we want to be flexible and we want to, while we still, obviously we can't go beyond the parameters of cost and time given, but we can still look at what priority features that we can deliver. Okay. So this is a paradigm shift in the way we look at it. Some of these, again, it's taken from scaled Agile. So you look at centralized control to decentralized decision making. So we don't talk about uh, entire decision to be taken by a project manager. We enable the team to take some decisions. Okay, we enable middle level management, the ground level teams to take some decisions which are not so crucial. So we decide on what decisions can be taken at the team level, at the portfolio level, at the program level, and so on. Project overload and continuous value flow. So we move from project overload to demand management, detailed project plans to lightweight. This we discussed last time also when we talk about it's no more a detailed project plan, it's a rolling wave planning we do. So we do have plans, agile project plans, but it is more of lightweight and epic only business cases. So we go by one epic, we create a business cases, and we try to see what is that to get that epic done. Centralized annual planning, and now we talked about decentralized and rolling wheel planning, WBS, agile estimating and planning, project-based funding and control, and waterfall milestones to objective fact-based. We talk about OKRs, objectives and key results very frequently in the agile world now. So all this involves, suppose you take an example of a project manager in a typical phase gate approach or a traditional approach to lean agile approach or an agile approach we talk about. Lean actually supplements agile. So we talk about when we in certain frameworks, when we talk about agile, we talk about lean agile, especially in frameworks like SAFe. Right. So this, if you look at the right side, it is significant difference than how we are doing things. It's not just the delivery I'm talking about, where we move from sequential to Scrum or iterative models, but also in different beyond our your product delivery. A lot of other areas also get impacted with this, and it requires significant change of mindset to do all this. Yes or no? Do all of you agree? Are you all with me so far? Yes? Okay. See, that's where we talk about. See, if you look at uh, this slide. Okay, so this is again from scale. So the business agility requires teams to be agile. And here we are talking about not just the IT teams or the technology teams. We are talking about everyone involved in delivering a business solution. What does it mean? It could be your marketing, it could be your finance, it could be your manufacturing, construction. Everyone involved in delivering business solutions should be agile. It is not just the IT department I'm talking about here. Okay, so everyone involved in delivering business solutions. That is what the business agility we talk about. So it involves not just implementing the some of the myths we have. So that I think it's there in some of the slides as well. I implemented a Scrum framework, or I implemented SAFe framework. I am agile. Is that the case? Definitely not. So because it is significant change in the mindset, and we need to look at different parameters as some were highlighted here. Okay, and more here. So if you look at leadership standpoint, okay, leadership standpoint, we talk about it's no more authoritative style of leadership. We talk about lean, agile leadership. Okay, and it involves significant difference in the way we behave, the way we work with our teams. No, we no more dictate. No, we no more dictate what to be done by our teams. We will support the teams. And no, that is what we call it as a servant leadership. It's a predominant subject on its own. We talk about coordinating team contributions to coaching the teams to collaborate. Okay, so we no more setting deadlines, we set the objectives. We're driving towards specific outcomes. Okay, so we support the teams in delivering the program's overall performance. Okay, so in a nutshell, all this on the right side, the two part, involves significant change in the way we are doing things when we transform to agile. Okay, directing to letting the team self-organize. This is what we talk about: self-organized teams. There is a facilitator like a Scrum Master. So we talk about the project manager or the role of a Scrum Master as a servant leader. Right? We talk there is a Scrum Master, an RTE, or a project manager. It's no more directing or authoritative style of project management will not work in agile. So All this involves significant change. So what is all this means? Coaching the team, setting objectives, being invested, and decentralized decision making. This is all nothing but aligning ourselves to the four values and 12 principles that we talked about. What is Agile is all about? Aligning ourselves to the four values and the 12 principles. In the process, we need to have a significant mindset change, how we can align to the four values and 12 principles. This is what exactly Agile is all about. Very beautifully depicted by Ahmed Sidki from IC Agile. It's a change in mindset. Agile is all about mindset described by four values, defined by 12 principles, and manifested through unlimited practices. What are the practices I'm talking about here? Can you all name some Agile practices in the chart window? What are some of the Agile practices currently you're following in your teams or in your projects? Okay. 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 See, when I talk about Agile practices, no, we talk about Scrum as a framework or a methodology, and Kanban and SAFe as a knowledge base or a framework again. When we talk about agile practices, no, I think uh, somebody mentioned here, okay, Vishnuvardhan mentioned daily stand-up meeting. It's a simple practice. It's a simple agile practice. Okay. So daily stand-up meeting, it's a quick 15 minutes meeting. We know what to discuss in the daily stand-up meeting. Okay, the three questions that we answer. And let's say we are following test-driven approach or the test-first approach. We are following a practice of retrospective. Okay, so we're in at the end of a sprint and the end of an iteration. All of us gather and retrospect what went well, what needs to be changed, and all that. Right. So that's a simple agile practice. Those are all the practices I'm talking about. Okay. So the Scrum or SAFe or Kanban or there are 36 other frameworks and methodologies if you look at in the agile world. So all these practices, all these frameworks, suppose if you talk about like this, your Kanban, SAFe, Scrum is a collection of these set of these practices. Any of these frameworks, Kanban, Scrum, SAFe, XP, okay, disciplined agile, any of the frameworks that we talk about is an organized set of these practices, nothing else. Okay, so there could be some of the values and principles that tweak a bit in Kanban, Scrum, and SAFe, and no SAFe actually adds additions of lean practices and systems thinking approach and all that. But any agile framework, if you look at any agile, so it is at the bottom level, it is a mindset described by four values, defined by 12 principles. Okay, manifested through unlimited number of practices. Okay, so your Kanban, Scrum, SAFe are nothing but an organized set of practices. There could be for each of these frameworks and methodology, there is again set of principles, values defined again, based on the core Agile manifesto that we discussed last week. Okay, so any questions so far? Okay, so let me take a pause. Black box grooming sessions, lesson learned. Okay, so there are many and any number of practices we can talk about in Agile. When we actually implementing Agile, understanding these practices is also very important. There is, as you see in this picture, there are a number of practices. But if you want to enable your organizations to Agile, enabling these practices is also important. But at the same time, there is one important aspect here. We talk about being agile and doing agile. I think you can browse through it. I don't think I have a slide for that. Being agile and doing agile. So what exactly? Many organizations are in the state of doing agile. Means they implement certain pieces on the right side here. They say they call themselves agile, which is not true. which is not the right way to look at. You need to be being agile if you want to get the real benefits of market competitiveness. You want to get real advantage of business agility. No, if you want to see the real outcomes of agile, you want to be agile, not just do agile. Okay, so what do agile means? They just implement certain practices, but they never focus on this part, the mindset and culture part. Okay, how they can percolate the values and principles part. Okay, so if you want to be agile, you need to focus. Primary focus should be on your mindset and culture of the organization. If you do this, then you can sustain the agile practices that we are currently implementing. That's no difference between be agile and do agile, being agile and doing agile. Okay. So let me quickly summarize all this with a video here. So let me play this. 1 minute. Let me quickly play this video.
So the Agile Manifesto was a
Are you able to hear the audio?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
document written in 2001. Basically, software methodology people came together and wanted to articulate the different way of working that they had been doing compared to what the rest of the industry was doing. Really, Agile is a mindset, it's a way of thinking that's defined by 4 values, described by 12 principles, and then manifested through an unlimited number of practices or different ways of working. And it's simply a deep understanding and culture of learning and experimentation and trying things out. Any creative work will benefit from this notion of an agile way of working. One of the misconceptions about agile is sort of why, right? Why do I want to become agile? Is it just to be more efficient and more effective? And I think for some people, they may say yes, but for me, it's not that. It really is about customer centricity. Agility is the best way to serve your customer, right? The customer today is in a constant state of motion. There's a lot changing for customers at all times. And acknowledging and understanding that because I want to be more customer centric and that the customer is in a constant state of change, I need to be more flexible, agile in the way I work. And when I say I'm saying, marketing people, HR people, finance people, product development, content creators, sales, any discipline, any function that is trying to serve a customer. Agile becomes a necessity, not a nice to have, because you will not be able to truly surprise and delight and fulfill the needs of your customer without having a way of working where we are co-creating and trying things out and experimenting and inspecting and adapting and innovating and being okay with failure. It is a different mindset. It is a different set of capabilities. And I think if you just boil it down to doing things differently, that's all you're going to do. You're just going to do a bunch of things differently. But if you want to be a different person that is ready for the next century of how business is done and creative work and customer centricity, that requires a journey, a learning journey for yourself. But it's a journey worth pursuing because it will change you, and it will change the way you work, and it will change what you can do for your customer.
Okay, so let me stop the audio. Okay, so hope all of you able to hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now all of you understand with that video, very, very important video, I would say. If you don't understand, no, if it is over the head for you, I definitely encourage all of you to watch that video again. And it's important key concepts that we discussed so far. It explains about why agile. Okay, so it is no more, no, it is definitely the necessity. And also it explains about why we have to go for agile, because it's a customer centric approach we're looking at. And customer is in the constant pace of change. And obviously, if we are not following up with the customer, by being agile, so you can't survive. Your organizations can't survive in the market. So that is the key concept. And he explained about how this diagram about how exactly it is actually manifested by different practices, but defined the core baseline of values and principles. Okay, so we talked about agile being a mindset. Okay, uh, so let me skip this. Okay, can mindset be changed? Okay, so that's the question that comes up. And no, this is an important question that as an agile practitioners, we always think about, right? No, we generally say mindsets cannot be changed, and somebody thinking in a fixed mindset. Okay, and we talk about some important term called as growth mindset in agile. Can we change from fixed mindset to growth mindset? So unless this happens, we can't be really agile, because we're talking about a change in mindset and culture here. Okay, so the good thing is mindset can be changed. Okay, so with constant implementation process and training and culture change, the mindset can be changed. If mindset can be changed, we can be agile as an organization. Okay, so there are two important aspects here. So you can read through a lot of material available on the net about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. No, in growth mindset, so some of these statements that you hear, I'm not sure how many of you read through as the text is small. So I like to try new things. Okay, so we are nowhere, no think about failures. We no more think about no giving up. We no more think about my learnings abilities are limited. In the growth mindset, we are flexible. We think about no, I can learn new things. I'm flexible to accept changes. Okay, change is inevitable. No, my failure is an opportunity to grow. No, we talk about, and challenges help me grow. And we these are all the mindset thinking that exactly aligns with the way agile values or agile principles are we discussed in the last session, right? So I can learn and do things that anything that I want. Feedback is constructive. Okay, so it's no more like a standard approach of no sending out a survey and once in a blue moon and taking feedback, right? So we take an iterative feedback. In the case of a Scrum process, like we take feedback every 2 weeks. So there are endless opportunities for learning. In the current age, if we cannot change our mindset to growth mindset, even as an individual, it is difficult to survive in the competitive world. It's difficult to survive in the kind of skill set that organizations are looking for, because organizations are more and more converting themselves to agile, and which is driven by the people with the growth mindset, definitely not with people with fixed mindset. Okay, so now talk about how, see, we talk about agile as a mindset, and we know about values and principles. Let's talk a bit about transformation process. Now, I'm not going in depth about explaining all the transformation process. That will take, I'll do it maybe in a separate session. But for your disposal, there are different change models available. If you want to implement, see, obviously it is a mindset change that we understand. It's a culture change. When I talk about culture, it involves your process, people, technology, strategy, right? Culture, nothing but combination of all these. Your people, your process, your technology, your strategy, agility we talk about, all this needs to be changed. So there is a guidance given by some of the change models. So we talk about change management process, right? It is nothing but when you talk about from waterfall to agile, it is a change management process. So obviously you need to implement a change model. Okay, so the different change models for your disposal here, as it is listed here. One simple approach is Suhari. Okay, so one simple approach we talk about is Shuhari. So in Suhari, we talk about this is a Japanese model. We talk about learn the basics, add new patterns, and reflect and improve. Okay, so very simple model, but very powerful, very powerful. And if you understand this model and implement, you can implement this model for yourself, your organization, your projects, your teams as well. Okay, so it talks about suppose implementing certain practices, certain agile practices at the beginning of show, then add more new patterns and learn new things and deviate from the basic practices, and then become a master. Okay, so that's what exactly Shuhari talking about. So implement certain, suppose we talk about daily stand-up, we talk about retrospective, we talk about test-driven development, BDD, and implement these kind of process at the beginning, at the team level. Then deviate and look at what can be learned. Then look at implementing, extending the agile to other areas. Let's say this is implemented at the small IT team, then extend that to marketing, extend that to finance, extend that to HR. Okay, so go beyond, add new patterns, and then reflect and improve and become master. Okay, so this is a simple uh, maturity model, but this can be implemented not only for agile, even at the team level as well. This is one of the popular model that we can use. Okay, so another very interesting model. I have this book. If some of you not read this book, I definitely encourage to read this book. This is a Porter model, what we call it as, right? A very popular thinker in the agile world. He suggested an eight-step process for leading the change. Okay, so we need to, in this model, he talks about understand the tipping point that we talk about. What exactly the why part, why agile part. So create a sense of urgency that we have to go to agile. Otherwise, it's very difficult to survive. Create a powerful guiding coalition. Develop the vision and strategy. Communicate the vision. Empower employees for broad-based action. Generate team wins. And no, we talk about creating a powerful guiding coalition in the sense create a team of change agents. It could be some of your coaches, some of your senior scrum masters, and of course people from the leadership team. Create a powerful guiding coalition and develop the vision and strategy where we are heading. What is the strategy we are implementing? Communicate the vision to the teams. Empower employees for broad-based action. In this, where we train employees on different agile models and agile concepts and culture changes and so on, generate short-term wins. So implement in one specific program or project, then extend that to the other areas within the organization. Consolidate gains and produce more wins. Okay. Anchor new approaches in the culture. Okay. So these are all the different ways we can lead the change in this particular model. Okay, so there is other model from our own uh, PMBOK. Okay, so this is the organizational business strategy. Sorry for the small text here. So it talks about formulating the change and planning the change and implementing the, this is a five-step process. Formulate the change, there are different steps involved here, and plan change, implement change, manage transitions, and sustain change. So each of these we can talk in length about this. Explaining these models itself will take a full session for each actually. But we'll talk about in depth about how these models. This is another model. No, again, a popular model similar to what you see in Kotter model. So we talk about factor, awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Okay, so these there are a lot of material available in terms of for each of these models. There are books available for each of these models. We are going to talk about it, so that's why I'm skimming through these specific slides. So we will talk about it in later sessions in the Agile series. Okay, so this specific model, if you look at it, talks about announcing the change to employees well ahead of time and explain the reason why we are going for change and including the current pain points and potential ROI of the new solution. Okay. Then we talk about creating that desire for change. Okay. So how employees are reacting. Okay. So then we talk about creating a guiding coalition, identifying the champions in desired state. Similarly, extending that in the knowledge state and providing with a lot of trainings and support required coaching, mentoring kind of supports. Then the ability and the reinforcement. Okay. So these are the two steps that follows the knowledge step in Edgar. So these are different change models like you see here, either Shuhari or no or Water model, or our own PMBOK change management model, and are the Atkar model. The different models we can list. These are popular models I have listed here. So, but definitely worth looking at each of these models. This actually guides you step-by-step approach of how exactly you can implement the change process from linear approach to agile. Okay, so quick uh, do's and don'ts of agile transformation. Okay, very important to keep in mind these points when you are actually embarking on an agile, whether at the team level or at the organization level. Okay, first and foremost, alignment with agile values and principles. Values and principles are like your Bible, Gita, or whatever you call it, right? So these are the baselines, and whatever. See, some of the time some practices may fail, or you have questions of how to do it, what to do it. In these kind of circumstances, we always refer to the principles. Okay, so first principle says that, okay, no, highest priority to is to satisfy the customer. That is nothing but the customer first approach we are talking about, right? So that itself defined in the first principle in Agile Manifesto. So alignment with Agile values and principles, clear on tipping points for Agile. I think I talked about this in length. We need to know exactly the reason for going Agile. Invest in culture first and talent out. So it is not practice first approach that will work. So invest in culture first. Okay, so you need to understand what is culture first approach, right? So we talk about changing the mindset and changing the culture, the transformation process, creating a guiding coalition, and do some wins at the team level, then percolate to the different teams. That is nothing but the culture first approach. Okay, think about the change model to scale up agile. So, and it is, we need to, at the beginning of the transformation itself, even if you are implementing agile in one specific project or program, you need to think about how you can scale up agile. Unless you scale up agile, you will head to failure. Okay, the reason being, you can't be simply one team agile or one project agile in an organization of multiple projects and multiple teams. That never going to be successful. You need to think about how you can scale. While you can still start at a team level or project level, you need to look at how you can scale up agile. Leadership support and commitment. This is very important. And now we talk about uh, lean agile leadership. The leaders has to take part at the ground level. It is no more like I sponsored the transition, and like given the required money, you go ahead and do it. That's not, that model is not going to work in the case of Agile. Leader has to be Jimba, so they have to get onto the floor, get their hands dirty, involve with the teams, and provide the required commitment. Otherwise, no Agile is going to be successful. Organize the work around value flow. So we talk about, no, 1 minute, I think. Let me give me a minute. I think my battery is dying a bit.
Sure, Venkat.
Let me switch. Okay. So all of you can see this slide, right?
Yes, Venkat.
Okay. So we are talking about organize the work around value flow. So we need to make sure you need to understand you might be having in org structures and departments and different way of getting things done. But in case of agile, we will talk about value stream, very important concept. Okay, we talk about operational value streams and development value streams and so on and so forth. But the concept of value stream is very important. Value stream is nothing but it's a flow diagram of how exactly your value passes in a specific process or in a specific transaction. Okay, so the entire work to be done, you need to organize it into value streams. Okay, and how you optimize, how you define these value streams, how you optimize these value streams is all the subject of the agile transformation. Okay, so you need to make sure you need to identify the value streams within your organization and how to optimize the value streams that you need to understand. So there are many of those. I have listed some important aspects here and also some of the don'ts. No, we always, like, I think he was talking about from the beginning. I implemented Scrum, I am Agile. No, is you need to make sure mindset and the culture change happening in parallel with the practices that you are implementing. Not including customer in Agile. Many organizations do this mistake. Okay, so customer is at the center of Agile transformation. Whatever you're doing, you need to make sure you get the customer, involve him if possible in your retrospectives, PI planning, and wherever possible, in your business meetings, wherever possible. No, and some of the organizations start with training. You hire a trainer and an NSPC or a CSP and train entire organization, then automatically organization will become agile. No, training is not going to help, and definitely training is not the first point to start with. Okay. So first point, obviously, to start with is the other way, implement certain basic practice. Suppose we talk about backlog grooming, right? So you need to make sure you have a backlog of features or user stories, and you need to groom and you need to have review that backlog and retrospect how we are making sure we are progressing and retrospectively. If some of these basic practices are not in place, whatever training you do is not going to help. Okay, just for the sake of knowledge, it may help, but not really on the ground. Limiting to certain departments and teams in silos. Okay, so I do just only in the value stream, suppose I limit implementation to only 2, 3 steps. The rest of the departments still follow their own approach, not going to help. Okay, so you need to extend agile at scale when you talk about implementation and transformation. You need to obviously look at beyond and definitely at a value stream level, if not the entire organization or program we are talking about, at least look at value stream by value stream. This value stream number one, okay, so I implement agile in this. So I make sure I optimize this, then replicate it. So that is what the quarter model talks about, right? So implement it at a one stream level, value stream level, show the results, optimize it, and then extend to other teams. And not allowing experimentation and innovation, training, continuous learning, innovation. So that is, we talked about growth mindset versus fixed mindset, right? And structure focused. While we while we want to be agile, but we are still structure focused. And know our appraisal systems, our organization structures, these are all becomes big bottlenecks in the way of implementing agile if you don't think it over how you can change that to agile processes. So there are good amount of in all the departments, even HR process, the way we recruit, the way we retain, there are agile practices being implemented in each of these departments. Agile with HR, even PMI published a white paper on that. Okay, so these are some of the do's and don'ts. As I said, these are not the complete list, but very important ones that I have listed here. There are many that we can discuss, keep on discussing about, but definitely make sure these points are covered. Okay, so I think I'm right on time. I still have 5 minutes. I can take some questions if any specific questions and any specific feedback, that will definitely help.
So we do have two questions, sir, in the chat.
Okay.
First one is how about this mindset change in small scale companies?
It's the same. Actually, it is in case of small scale companies. Okay, so the agile transformation to me is to a certain extent easy compared to major or large organizations because of the complexities involved. Okay, but the process to be followed, as I explained, whether it is change model or talking about culture first approach, process is same. Whether it is no, there are many companies already successful in showing the results. When I say showing the results, it is about ROI, it is about no customer retention, employee engagement. These results are organizations are already seeing in small scale and medium scale industries as well. Process is same, and now we need to identify what specific change model you want to follow, okay, and how you actually enable that mindset change. So, and also it's not only the change model in each and every behavior, especially from the leadership side, you need to showcase these values and principles in your day-to-day workings. Okay, so unless you really make sure that you are showcasing the values and principles in your day-to-day, not just for the sake of a poster and for explaining to the teams in meetings and all that you have these agile principles, is not going to help. Okay, so I hope that answers question Saman Prasad
Yeah.
Tiwari. Yeah. Okay, so that's any other questions? Hope the session makes sense where we want to go a bit deeper into agile transformation. Again, in our next sessions in the series, you're going to understand in depth about how to write user stories and estimation techniques. And no, we're going to talk about there's a specific session by Satish on scaling of agile as well, where I talked about very high level about safe and all that, but we're going to see in depth about what specific practices while embarking on the values and principles, what specific practices that you need to understand when you talk about Scrum of Scrums, the safe kind of frameworks. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Any?
One question, sir. If we have, yeah, we can take up. How can we ensure the agile methodology is implemented in sales organizations?
Okay, so I'm sorry, I may not be the right person to answer this because I don't have experience implementing Agile in sales, especially. But I see specific case studies. You can go to portal like Scaled Agile Framework where there are specific case studies where Agile is already implemented in sales as well. Wherein they follow this approach of agile mindset, and also they follow this approach of features and backlog grooming, and following up on the sales in terms of in the sprints or iterations. Okay, so but definitely more in depth, yes. I think I may not be the right person for that. Sorry for that, Vijay.
Sure, Venkat. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I think these are the upcoming sessions on the user stories and estimation techniques, Bhaskar Reddy by Bhaskar Reddy next week. At the same time, we will be meeting again. And December 3rd is Venkatesh Satish. He will be covering our on scaling of Agile. And once again, thank you very much, Venkat. I think you rightly, flowed down the last session knowledge, and the very softly you have introduced the transformation. And this is a big subject, as you mentioned. Couple of times we have touched various transformation techniques and do's and don'ts. I absolutely agree with you. We just showed the important stuff. Okay, on the transformation itself, we can talk for hours and hours. Once again,
That's right.
thank you very much for sharing your knowledge on the transformations, especially to the members. It is very valuable session. Thank you very much. And team, these are the upcoming workshops for the chapter: PMP workshop, ACP workshop, and Discipline Agile workshop. You can contact our academic director Shiva. And as we communicated, you will be getting one PDU credited, which is auto credited to your PMI ID. Okay. Yeah, please continue to join these sessions, and we'll be make it bigger and bigger as we move on in this journey on the Agile series. Thank you everybody for taking your time on Saturday and joining, and hope most of you are coming to the network meeting in the evening. We will meet you there. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, all. And again, very sorry for the initial confusion about the timing today.
Yes, sir. Yes.